Once I watched a documentary on Joseph Smith on PBS, and they talked about what a zealous he was. Because everywhere he'd go, he'd try to get people to live the ways of David and Solomon, and everywhere these shitheads would come and fuck it up. Okay. And then he would just keep going and trying. And they went further. They went from New York, they went further east, they went to Nauvoo, and these people would keep fucking it up. You know, he would go and try to live the ways of King Solomon and King David, and everybody could come live there, just keep the covenants, understand the covenants. Black men could marry white women. Indian men could marry white women. It was okay if the white men wanted to have sex with any kind of women he wanted, but when they flipped the script, oh boy, all the white men lost their, oh goddamn, he's a goddamn rah, 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 right? You know how tribal people are, they suck, right? And when men think they can control sexual access to women, they get real shitty, and women get shitty too, because Brigham Young had those problems with that when he had the young attractive likes. Why does he's got these ugly black wives and these old spinsters, and I should be treated better because I'm young and gorgeous. Yeah, fair, Katrina. Ichabod Crane. See, people just are assholes. Okay? And when they perceive themselves as being superior because of their capacity to compete over what they want, they're disgusting, right? And they have this entitlement about them. They walk around, I'm Brom Bones, I'm hoo ha ha ha, oh, everybody wants to fuck me. I'm the best fucker in town, best hunter, best this. Remember, I had that talk with T.T. Suzuki, and he said, all you need is one cow to, if you just need one deer, you can go kill 37 deer, and he can barely kill one. Okay? Well, maybe he should go, make pots. Maybe he's good at pots. Maybe that's how any Potts' relatives got their names. They made pots. They're better at making pots than kissing calling deer or hunting deer, right? All right. So, stop being assholes. Now, I don't think most of you understand what a pervert is, what perversion is, okay? Now, we study this. You can study nature and study things. You got the kiwi that mate for life, doves, wolves, and they get to select their mate and choose their mate, right? A lot of things and stuff. And a perversion is an act of aggressiveness and abuse. If you take a woman and you're a horrible person, you rape her and make her have your kids, it's horrible, right? Everything's horrible. Okay. If a woman says, "I choose you, Aladdin," and then you get together and you have babies, and then next thing I knew, his grandfather of 8 because she had kisses sweeter than wine. She had kisses sweeter than wine. So perverts put up satellites in the sky. Perverts are in a group they call a religion that are spying inside your house because they read the books and go, this is the guy who's going to come and redeem the Gospels. But apparently I did it all wrong because of perverts, right? A bunch of perverts putting cameras in my house to make sure I'm doing things right to fulfill the Gospels. Okay. We would have never had Jesus Christ as the standard of male behavior if we had the Quorum of the 12, the Vatican, the CIA, the Pentagon, and NASA, right? It would never have happened. Okay. They'd all be waiting, well, there's a story about this great guy. Okay, put the cameras inside the house, and here we go. Okay, it's a real life on MTV there now. Wow. Okay, Rocky, Okay, Rabbit, where's Rocky? Where's he hiding? He's not in the stove, right? So, do you understand what a pervert is? I don't think most of you do, okay? A pervert is a person who has sex with his wife and then video records it and makes the rest of you pay millions of dollars to watch it and say, don't you wish you were fucking her? No, I don't. I wanted to have sex with Amy, and I didn't want Army Intel watching. I didn't want him hearing her voice. I remembered that when she got pregnant outside of wedlock with me. And, I thought about the guys at NSI that Nate Reynolds, the Navy SEAL, talked him into having sex because, to bring down my status. And I thought, because Amy was real secure about a mole she had on her hip and moles and stuff. She was very insecure about a lot of her things, okay? And I thought about the superficial assholes that were having sex with her because of that pathetic Navy SEAL Nate Reynolds trying to bring down my status so he could be the head of honcho at the job. And I thought, that's not right. Those guys don't love my Amy. She didn't like her moles. It's your mole. That's you. She would talk about this is that, and I'm fat, and I'm this. Steffi used to do the same thing to me. How could you make love to me? I was so fat. I was like, you just had Patrick. You're the most, kill your every woman in the world to me. You're my fantasy. You're my reality. Lost in love and I don't know much, and I think out aloud and fell out of touch, but I'm back on my feet and eager to be what you wanted. I'm not making fun of Russell and Graham. I think I really like those guys. Anybody else particularly fond of those two Aussies? Air Supply? Okay. I like them a lot. Okay. But, being able to mate for life with someone that's civilized, with someone that's empathetic and respectful, with someone who has the courage of kindness, because you can't have courage without kindness. You can't have strength without kindness. Okay? You can be as big as Stephen Adams, okay, and be able to pick up somebody like Oliver Miller's size with one arm, pick up Kendrick Perkins with one arm, right? But if you'll take a girl and rape her, because, damn it, she's the best, and don't I deserve the best? I'm going to rape and marry Belle, right? I'm not saying Stephen Adams is like that. Stephen Adams is one of my favorite basketball players in this day and era. I get a real Maori vibe with him. I often wonder, I go, is he like half and half? Is somebody in that guy's family Maori? He reminds me of, that he don't seem like he's all, all British, Stephen Adams from Britain. He seems to have a mix of the two. To me, that's just the vibe I get from him. And I always liked him ever since he came in the league with the Oklahoma City Thunder a long time ago when the earth was green. And he was playing with James Harden and Russell Westbrook and Kendrick Perkins and Kevin Durant there, you see. Yeah, they had a lot of, and they had the other kid, they had a lot of talent. They were young and very talented. They had the most accumulation of talent and all the young talent. And I thought for sure they were going to win the NBA title a couple of times there, but they never did. They never did. But you know what? Who really gives a fuck? Money's not real. We're not living the Lord's Prayer anyway. And all the things we're doing for money sucks, right? Do you understand? Now, the other 3 videos I made earlier today, all the people in military intel that don't think they're perverts, we're slowing them down. Slow down. They can't take the heat. Slow down. Jim, go get your license to become a taxi driver. You come to a yellow light in an intersection. What do? Slow down. Hokey doke. You come to a yellow light in an intersection. What do? Slow down. Hokey doke. Yeah, you gonna go follow Chris Lloyd for 6 blocks, right? Was that Affleck? Has that been Affleck? Yeah. No, the worst I ever did was I had to go touch Dennis Johnson's shoulder at the old Spokane Coliseum. He was sitting right there in front of me. We had good seats because Lenny Wilkins gave them to us, right? They were right behind the bench. Like, Mom, I gotta go over and I gotta go over and say hi to DJ. Right? So he was sitting there on the bench trying to shoot things. I went, put my hand on his shoulder, startled him. I said, "Hi, DJ." He go, oh, turned around and I was like, and I came back, Mom, I touched Dennis Johnson's shoulder, Ma. I'll never watch this. I've watched this hand numerous times, but I was like, I went over and I did it. I was so nervous, like Sheldon with Leonard Nimoy or Richard Feynman or Stinky Pineman, And I was all, because I remember when I was at Chewelah Elementary School, the little Grace, I think was her name. She's a little Asian girl. She was really sharp and astute, but I think she kind of liked me, but she was always questioning me. She was always questioning. It was funny. And they sit there and they said, who would you have dinner with if you could have dinner? And all these guys, Cheryl Teagues, all that. And then this one kid became friends with kind of at first. I liked him. He was on the basketball team. He was a nice kid, but he sit there. And I said, no, Who'd you want to have dinner with? Dennis Johnson. And then say, hey, DJ, can Gus and Lonnie and Jack and Fred come too? What about Wally Walker? Just bring the whole team. So I was thinking, as many guys with the Seattle Supersonics as humanly possible. I'm 11 years old. What am I going to do with Cheryl Tiggs? Right? And then one kid goes, I want to amend my answer. I had wanted to, because that was the year the Sonics won the championship, right? And we were in Washington State. And all the rest of the guys go, yeah, DJ, their favorite Sonic. And then bring the rest. Make sure Lonnie comes and Jack and Les Harburger and just the whole team, coaches too, right? And all the kids change their answer. They say, and the little Asian girl's like, are you for real? It's like, yeah, you got to think intelligently. I'm 11. She asked me, why would you do that? I'm 11 years old. What am I going to do with Cheryl Tiggs or Raquel Welch? Sit there and go, you're pretty. You're pretty. But with DJ, it's, DJ, blah, 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 talk basketball, right? It'd be a hell of a lot more fun to talk basketball with Dennis Johnson and the Sonics than it would be to be a blithering idiot with Lola Falana. Lola Falana, pretty. Say pretty, mommy, say pretty. Born too late for you to care. Now my heart cries because your heart just wouldn't late. Why was I born too late? See, so you know what I'm saying? So if you could have dinner with anybody, I can't have dinner with anybody, and I have dinner with Dad when we eat together in my family. Because I'd rather eat with my family than a bunch of philanthropists who think money's real and won't stand up for the Lord's Prayer with me. Your own family's not doing it. I know, but I'm working on it. It's just real hard with all these perverts around. Okay. Will they fix themselves? Never know. Will it ever stop? I don't know. Ice, ice, baby. But I'm cool. So we'll work through this. Okay. We'll see how long it takes for these perverts to try to load this one. Well, I tried commanding them and they went, no, we'll slow down even more. Okay. You'll be real slow to live the Lord's Prayer for children, but real quick to put the cameras in there to masturbate to teenage girls masturbating with guys with a British accent on Skype or Facebook. Okay. Wow. Swell people. I feel safe with them. Don't you? Keeping my money safe. Wow. Have the ring. Make sure nobody's stealing boxes from stuff that got sent to my house that are ordered online. I feel so safe. I'm sarcastic. You know that, right? Okay, I love you.